Hey podcasters, we're here, the Ladies of RWW, and I am Rhea.
Teresa. Champagne.
And Lynn.
And we're here to bring you our book to movie adaptation of Brave New World. Written by
Aldous, I can't speak, Huxley.
all this and then some.
Yeah, this is Lynn's pick, my pick. I picked it because I wanted to, I know it was like banned from like schools and whatnot, so I kind of wanted to see what everybody's like take on it was. So yeah, that's why.
As an adult, our new take on what we would been, what we had to do when we were younger.
Exactly. But today we are drinking Below the Belt from Cooper's Hawk.
Yeah.
It's a red blend, which is of course like one of my favorites. Half the bottle's gone. So obviously it's good. Just gonna leave it at that.
Nice.
And I'm drinking a white, and I'll tell you about it next time.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so the book.
Yeah.
Okay, the book was written almost 100 years ago. I think it was written in 1932. Yeah, it was like nails on a chalkboard trying to get through it.
Yeah, it should have stayed in 1842 because it kept that there.
I was like,
get through it.
I'm thinking like, how did like teenagers in school get through this book as a grown adult can't get through this thing?
You got to a chapter by chapter with your teacher. That's how you had to do it. You had to break it down.
It's so crazy because I remember having to read this book in high school.
Really?
I thought I liked it. And but now I don't know. Like I remember vaguely what the storyline was about, and I was like, "Oh, I think I like this book." When Lynn picked this book, I was like, "Oh, this will be nice." I remember that story. I remember reading that in school, and I actually wanted to jump off the top of a building while I was reading it because it was the absolute worst.
You don't care.
I think that though, when you read something with your instructor or your teacher or whatever, it depending how good they are, they know how to break it down into chunks, and then you have a discussion about it, and it's so much more interesting than having to read as a grown adult and having more control over what you read. So I think as an adult, I could have probably just chucked this out the window very early. But when you're a kid and you have no choice but to get through it, to get that D,
the D,
No,
we needed a teacher because
we needed somebody to break it down for us.
We need somebody to say, read this particular chapter, and we'll read the next chapter tomorrow.
Or even just like a discussion after each chapter to be like, what the hell did I just read?
That was me the entire time. Like, should I go back and reread this? Okay, let me think. What was it about?
How many times I had to start this thing like from the beginning? Like I'm like chapter 2, 3. I'm like, I don't quite know what I read. So maybe I
gotta go back 10 pages.
Yeah, I kept having to go back, and I was like, I just gotta keep going. Just gotta keep going.
At the beginning of like every chapter,
get to that point.
I had like a mental note where I was like, all right, we're going to start fresh. Whatever happened in the past happened. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. So from here on out, I got it. I'm remember what happened. Didn't work. I like pep talk myself before each chapter.
Right.
Yep.
I feel like it's at some point it's going to all come together, whether you miss parts of the chapter or not. It's going to be that one chapter to be like, oh, okay. Did not happen.
So for me today, I was very excited about like having this discussion and then having all the pieces come together at the end of our discussion. So I was actually really looking forward to that from you all, the smart girls in the group.
Not according to this book, we ain't.
I can't help you in the book discussion. I'll only thing I could tell you is that for the most part, I finished the book and still didn't really have a clue as to what it was about.
Yes.
And then when I watched the movie, the book started to come together. So I'm watching the movie and there were things that were said and done in the movie that I'm like, oh, I vaguely remember something like that in the book. And that's when I feel like it came together. Like I had to have the visual because it wasn't working for me.
But it to me, it even seemed a little, I mean, the movie came together better, but it's almost like it wasn't even, some pieces weren't the same as the book as far as I'm concerned, unless, again,
I don't know.
I feel like this or, something like that happened to me.
Well, okay, so we read a movie and we did the series.
Yes.
Right, okay, so.
Well, there was 2 movies, but I wasn't able to find the 1998 movie. Maybe it was like boycotted in like Hollywood or something because it was nowhere. I was looking on like random sites that probably are bootleg sites, but anyways, looking on those sites, still couldn't find it either.
Right.
So I was
it was probably something so either sexist or racist in it that they had to just cut it out. Because what I am finding is that some of these books that we picked that were written a long time ago, like I can see why you can't find them anymore.
Yeah.
Right, but then they make a movie in 2020. So, I mean, a TV show.
Yeah, but they switch up they switch up how it really was.
They try to make it diverse.
Some of those older ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the older versions just might not be available anymore because of that.
Yeah,
but
you
said you couldn't find it.
I was pleased with the diversity in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no way from 100 years ago when it was written that it would have ever looked like that. I mean, not the movie, the series.
Well, for the movie,
yeah.
And the same thing happened in the book to me. I put it on, fell asleep. I woke up, it was over. I tried again, like a couple hours later, put it on. Mind you, like I took a 3-hour nap, so I wouldn't be tired, right? Nope. Put it on, fell back asleep again. And I'm like, all right, so we're going to try this like when I'm not tired. Try it again. 3rd time was the charm, but I realized why I fell asleep because it was horrible.
Yeah, it was. And
the 3rd time you probably assumed you were going to be like, oh, that's what I missed. And you're like, I didn't miss anything.
I kept like losing like ADD concentration. I'm watching it and I'm thinking about other things. And all of a sudden I came back and I was like, oh wait, how did they get to this lighthouse thing? Yep. Just blanked out so many times.
That was me.
So
100%. I'm like on my phone, like, okay, let's put the phone down. I find myself like, oh, let me put this down.
Oh, that's right. I was watching a movie.
Bingo. That's it right there.
And normally I'm like, I
not finish the movie. Didn't.
The series?
It was 3 hours.
The series I completed. I actually enjoyed the series.
The movie
was 3
hours
the
long.
1990 or 1980 movie.
Right.
We all vote for like thumbs down, I'm assuming.
I don't know, Lynn. Don't know.
So now we can discuss the comparison to the actual 2020 show.
Before we get to it, though, I feel what I gathered, the amount of stuff I gathered, which is very, very small from the book, was the same thing I gathered from the book, which was alike. If that helps anybody.
You mean from the movie? The movie and the book?
You mean from the movie?
Okay. Yes. Oh, so you're like, that was a great adaptation of 2 horrible
from the
stories.
parts
it was
that
accurate.
I was able to sink in. Yes. So now we can move on.
Yeah, it was very accurate because I retained nothing from either.
Basically.
There was some shizow from both angles.
Shizow. But the series,
shizow.
I actually enjoyed the series. I got through it and it was entertaining. It kept me captivated. And I just feel like the premise of the series was the same as the book, but it seemed as if it was 2 entirely different stories, even though it really wasn't.
No.
Because it made sense.
Yeah.
I was getting like these like Divergent, if you read that series or seen the movies, the Divergent and Hunger Games capital kind of feel to it with like the clothes and stuff. But then like the the category like lifestyle from Divergent. So like I kind of used that as a reference to help me understand the series. And I was like, okay, so if you're an alpha, beta, like if you're A minus, how things go. And I'm like, all right, well, that made a little bit more sense when they had like a little blurb number or letter. So it made sense better than the book did. Cause I was like, y'all keep talking about these epsilons and these like deltas. That's so mean. And then it finally clicked to me. I was like, oh, okay. I can see the hierarchy in the show.
Little caste system going on there.
Right.
Yeah, it made so much more sense.
It's just too, the writer just, for me, didn't do a very good job of describing it to me. And I think for me, that's the problem. It's like in the book, I really could not visualize anything that was going on. Like I just couldn't, which is funny because, they have so many of these other movies like that. Like you're saying, you got Insurgent, Divergent, you got Hunger Games, you got all of these things. So it should have been easier, I think, for us now to envision what they were saying in the book. But I didn't get that. I just didn't.
And I felt just to touch back on the 1980 movie, I felt that, because what Treva said, it was totally different, but I feel in the movie, it started from earlier, if that makes sense. Like the John's mom,
the time frame.
It was like a prequel or
like a prequel, because they showed how John's mom even got to back to the regular world and got stuck there. Mm-hmm. So I like that part of it, which is again the only thing I pretty much retained from the movie. But then I feel like it led on to the series.
So interesting. Of course, the movie didn't work for me. I don't even recall that in the movie, but that actually would have been nice, because even watching the series, I felt like you got some hints.
Yeah.
You didn't really know how it happened, and I would have loved to have understood how that whole situation happened in the first place. I don't even know if they talked about it in the book, because I don't know what the book was about. But that was
almost like it started in the middle of the. It's like it started in the middle of the movie. Like
exactly.
How you say that about some people, like finish it. Like I don't know what you're talking about. Like you started halfway in. I guess you were talking about it up here, and then when you started with me, half of it was gone from up here. I can't connect it.
I live that life every day with someone.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah, I used to.
So for this series, I felt this is for Lynn mainly, with these freaking dystopias, I felt like it was different, because in a good thing, because it was different, because most dystopias that we read are people trying to get out of the new world. These people, it felt like this one was people wanted to stay there, or people wanted to come here, like his mother wanted to come back because they loved it so much. Where every other dystopia we read, everybody's trying to tooth and nail to try to get out, or try to wake up and get out, kind of thing.
That's a good.
I like that,
because Mama was trying to get back.
Yeah,
he's trying to get.
Mama was trying to get back.
Nobody wanted to leave.
And I just wonder if it's because they just didn't ever have those other experiences, like where for the other things they had so much more freedom. So maybe that's also a part of this whole idea. If you don't ever come from that freedom, you really need that structure back.
Right. Yeah, but then you have like the opposites basically. So you have in this world, you have like there's no monogamy, there's no family, there's no like relationships, where you just kind of like literally hook up with anybody all the time. It just was weird, but whatever. That's what life is. And then on the other side, you would think that like that freedom would be like what you wanted, but then others are like, getting jealous that like you're sleeping with the same person over and over again. And then like, I don't really quite understand why you're sleeping with them anyway, because you're not procreating. They're being like in a test tube. So Petri dish, I don't understand why. I guess it's just like sexual pleasure versus actual like reproduction. But I'm like,
it was
okay.
pleasure. Yeah.
But what was confusing, or one part that was confusing to me, is how, if I felt that Bernard was jealous of John being with the girl, Lenita, whatever, from the beginning, but he's not supposed to have those feelings. So I'm kind of confused.
I he was a struggle throughout the whole series. He struggled with the fact that somehow technically he really wasn't an alpha, and that backstory never came to light for me either. Like somehow he was an alpha, but he really, and everybody knew that he shouldn't have really been an alpha. But then also I think he struggled with his own feelings of the fact that he wanted more. He wanted a relationship, you know, because it's probably because he had his own insecurities. So that's what I feel like. I feel like they definitely demonstrated a battle that he was having with himself.
I agree.
And I think it's just like with anything, you know, you try to pigeonhole everybody into these different categories, but there's always going to be these outliers that don't fit in your mold. And he's like, was kind of one of them. Like, he didn't know any better, but he still had these feelings.
Does she have a blinged up wine bottle?
Don't judge me.
Okay.
Sprinkle that judgment on there.
But I felt all right. All I saw was the bling on the bottom of the bottle, and I was like, "Does she have not a wine glass, but a jug?" Oh no. Mm-mm. Okay, classy. Yeah. So, gosh, there was something I was gonna say, and I can't remember.
The bling blinded you.
Sorry,
it blinded me. I can't remember. Oh,
so to right. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say in the book, when the whole time they kept talking about the savage, the beast, and all of that, like I really thought it was an animal.
No, we're talking about us, normal. We're talking about you.
I don't know. Is the person half animal? The whole planet of the apes, and just like all this stuff was coming in my head. And I'm like, I just don't remember an animal in this story when I was younger. And then when I watched the movie, I was like, oh,
the normal people.
Yeah. Now it's coming back
or
to
our
me.
version of normal, right?
The one that actually like eat food and
right.
love.
They're the savage animals.
We're savages.
But you know, that's how different countries feel about different people in general. So
right. Or even
that's a good point, Ray, because I was like, I still to this day don't understand why this was like actually taught in schools. And so that actually answers my question, I think. It's because like everywhere is different. Every country is different. People like in certain countries, eating a guinea pig is like a delicacy versus like here, we would never eat a guinea pig.
Right.
But we wouldn't call them a savage because that's what in their culture. So, okay. I now understand why it was taught in schools. I still was like, why is this a part of the curriculum?
So, all right. So I guess I want to talk a little bit about the cast of the series, but if you guys want to talk about the cast of the movie, I can't help you there, but did you guys want to talk about that cast at all?
No, thank you.
No, thank you, please. No, please and thank you. So, yeah, so the casting for the series, I didn't realize that was Demi Moore. Had no idea, but I knew that she looked familiar. So I literally had to pick up my phone and look it up. Like literally had to pick it up.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what it is, what it was.
That blonde hair threw you off.
It threw me completely.
Well, you know what threw me off? Okay, so Demi Moore appeared on the last couple of episodes of the television show Empire, and she looked like Skeletor.
Yes.
And I thought she was like, you know, had one foot in the grave. She looked so horrible
she did.
On that show that I just thought that was her look. And in this series, which is newer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She looked pretty good to me. So she had some repairs or something, but I just remember she was so scary to me in Empire.
Yes, she was.
And I always thought she was a very pretty woman.
Yes.
And,
oh my gosh, I've always thought she's been beautiful.
Yeah.
I just don't understand these people that just like.
Yeah.
When I saw her, I was
faces.
like, why is she so frail? And I'm like, okay, maybe she had lost some weight for the role because they are savages. Right. And then I Googled her recent pictures and it's like, oh no, that's just her now.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Because before she was like fit, nice, like even really a bald head. She looked like beautiful. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I heard Ashton Kutcher did a number on her psyche.
I did hear that too.
So she was going through some stuff emotionally after they split.
She lost a tooth. She did something, one of those adventure type things, jumping off a cliff. I don't know, but she lost a tooth too. So she's
So
tooth
this show actually made me think that she's coming back around because she looked better. What happened?
I'm trying to hold him in.
We can hear him again.
Oh.
No, it's the tooth.
Oh.
I knew what Lynn was laughing at. I just couldn't. I tried to hold it too, Lynn. I tried to hold it. I kept looking down, like shit,
talking about her like losing Ashton Kutcher and then lost a tooth.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you anybody else in the cast. I think everybody in the series did a great job. I feel like they're no names, but they may not be.
I think they might, well, not like intentionally look for like no names, but like because it was such an old like story throughout like the generations, they wanted to get it like super diverse, which was pretty awesome. Like I like that part, but maybe they didn't want these show stealing actors and actresses to make the show lean towards like a certain genre or a certain expectation that they wanted because it was an old story turned over and over again. That's maybe how I kind of picked up the casting or lack of like the A-list actors, which I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I did too.
For one, I actually enjoyed that too.
With the movie, it was pretty diverse too, though, which was shocking.
The movie was?
Yeah, the movie was diverse. Had a bunch of customs in there.
Yeah.
Well, I actually thought John the Savage was pretty good looking.
Yeah, I was like kind of pleased. And I'm like, wait, so
like,
if I gotta
like
choose y'all alphas over John, yeah, I'm going with John.
I was like, I like to me a savage.
Basically. Sign me up, please.
Classy, bougie, ratchet.
Yes. I was like, I like a savage right there.
He was all like cooking himself a meal. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a savage too, John.
Speaking of that, you just reminded me of a question because I did not quite understand the ending of that last series. Him sitting there, just were they not together? Is she now a director? Are they starting this all over? I'm so confused.
Did they not ride off into the sunset?
No, they did not. Well, he was sitting in some raggedy eating a fried piece of fish with no batter. I don't know. Did he show them
fishing together to get that fish or something?
No, but she was sitting in the room with him without a plate because he's eating in front of her. But turns out that she was just a simulation.
Oh. Did I?
And it showed her with that thing on her thing, like as if she was showed up in front of him, as if she went there, through the. So I don't know if they're together or not. He lived in a raggedy, old looking, I don't know.
Well, I kind of interpret it as like, as though they wanted two different worlds. They really couldn't be together, but in order to like get them to still be not just together, but like they're obviously like, I guess friends or acquaintances or involved in each other's lives, that they had to use a little like hologram simulation to get themselves to actually still have that connection, even though they live in two different worlds.
So, but the world is still in existence? I thought that the world just like imploded kind of thing, or
I thought it imploded, but like kind of meshed. Like they kind of chose certain like the whole like caste system was gone. But
everybody was living in the same plane, but maybe living a little differently, but just kind of.
They could choose
they were trying to learn how
what they wanted to
adapt to mix together is kind of how I took it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's interesting because the guy who was the director that ended up connecting with the Savage, because he drove an automobile.
That part was funny.
The look in his face made me think that he was going to try to start to be like a leader of a new group of people. I mean, we'll never know because the season was canceled, and I mean because the series was canceled, so there won't be a season 2. But I don't know. I got the sense like he hopped in the car with them, and he was like, "I can help you guys," and then he had that little box. Which
what the heck was in the box?
Yeah,
driving me crazy.
I felt like he was getting ready to like step up and lead, like create a new group of people or something.
I got that same like feeling, but I have no idea what's in the box.
But she
I'm not
doesn't
gonna lie.
want that type of world. That she was like a what you call them?
A militant
Refugee,
the militant woman, you mean?
Yes. She didn't want that type of world. So
See, I don't know about that. See, I compared her to like the rebellion that all of a sudden wants to be powerful. Like we saw that in Hunger Games, right? The one woman who was like a rebel, but she really ended up being that she was going to be worse than Snow because she had a different mindset. So I saw
was in that and Divergent.
Yeah,
both.
I sensed that woman, the woman that was that lived with the savages, that was the rebel. I feel like she had a thirst for power. I feel like that was the direction.
So maybe in like that, if they had continued, she'd have been the cuckoo one.
I feel like, or would have been setting up a world similar to theirs.
It could have been a lot worse, like they didn't have certain freedoms. Who knows?
I'm still trying to figure out what was in that freaking box. It's driving crazy. Like it had to be something.
It's kind of like the suitcase in Pulp Fiction. Nobody ever knows what's in that suitcase, and Quentin Tarantino will not tell either. So maybe it's the same situation.
Yeah,
I don't remember that part. Now I have to go watch that.
Oh, don't get me started.
I think they were setting it up. I think they were just setting it up for something else, and then it just got canceled.
Yeah.
I
agree. The same thing. All right. Well, you guys ready to vote on the adaptation?
Yeah, I voted 3 weeks ago. So I'm ready.
And just to reiterate, this was Lynn's pick.
It's my pick.
She got to own this one.
No offense, it could never be worse than Art of a Spouse. So I picked away.
Okay, are we doing voting? Because I'm going to say I give it a full glass. Didn't understand one, didn't understand the other one totally. But I felt like they were the same. They fell in line.
Okay, so I don't know if it was the same. I honestly, I could not tell you something. I don't know what to rate this. I did like the series. The movie, I felt the parts I gathered was just like the book. So half glass, I guess. I don't know.
Well, Lynn, I'll go next. I'll let you rate your selection last. Okay. I just don't know what the book was about. I cannot tell you if it was a good adaptation, but because it was overall horrible, I'm giving it a sip.
Okay. I'm actually going to agree with Rhea because the book was like the movie, and then the series actually helped me understand the other two. So works for me. I gave it a full glass. We're all over the board here, y'all.
You sure? Right? Well, it doesn't get a full bottle, but I will just say that I truly enjoyed the series. I just don't know if it was a good adaptation because I just couldn't get through the book.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Yeah. And so I encourage everyone to at least check out the series. If you can't get through the book, check out the series. You'll at least get the gist of it.
I thought you were encouraging the book.
No. Should I be clear? Don't read the book ever.
Unless you struggle to sleep at night. Then jump on it.
Ambient, Brave New World.
Right. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Don't forget to check us out on
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and at rewatchwine.com. And YouTube.
Subscribe on YouTube.
Like us, follow us. All right, bye.